Chapter 26, C.J. Sciutto. Mom calls me about 20 times a day, sometimes crying, sometimes begging, sometimes barking orders. The message is always the same, though. I have to come home. I want to come home and I will, I tell her again and again, as soon as Marcus is gone. You're asking me to break up our family, she protests. That's exactly what I'm asking. It's a nightmare, and you know it. I love Marcus, and we both love you. Bye, Mom, I say, and hang up. Believe me, it takes a lot of willpower to blow her off like that. The longer I'm gone, the more scared I am about her safety. I've passed along the helpline numbers that Ricky found. I've told her that if she leaves him, there are places that we can go, but she doesn't listen. 45 seconds later, she calls back. Marcus is a new man. He misses me terribly. Our family has nothing but good times ahead. I refuse to go down that road. If Marcus won't leave, I insist, then you have to leave him. She changes the subject. Where are you living? With your friends? I can find out, you know. I can speak to their mothers. Bye, Mom. Now that's one threat I'm not worried about. Our family issues have always been a deep, dark secret. Mom would never call my friends' families for fear that they might ask me what's been happening in our house. And she knows I would tell the truth. I'm done with lying. During school hours, when talking is out, Mom bombards me with texts. I can ignore the vibrating in my pocket for only so long. In most of the messages, she's just trying to make sure that I'm okay. It can't be easy to have your kid basically take off on you, and part of me feels awful for putting her through this. Marcus texts me too. Everything from, how can you do this to your mother, to, come home, son, the house is so empty without you, to, you're going to pay for what you put us through. Too late, Marcus. I block him, and I'm amazed I didn't think of it sooner. I was smart enough to disable phone tracking the minute I started sleeping at the fort. Why didn't I realize it would have been just as easy to stop his calls and texts? If only it was that simple to cut him out of my life. I'm officially broke, so I can't buy school lunch anymore. Pawning Bennett Delamere's cutlery is out of the question now that we know from Janelle that the cops are snooping around for it. Yesterday, I brought a can of Hormel chili from the fort in a brown paper bag. The problem was I forgot to open it. Those ancient tins don't have pull tabs. I had to ask one of the lunch ladies for a can opener. She took one look at the 40-year-old label and cried, I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. Now, obviously, flashing around fort food with its retro labels is a bad idea. So today, the guys donate bits and pieces of their own lunches to share with me. 4 quarter sandwiches equals 1 sandwich, if you don't mind a ham, tuna, cheese, peanut butter combo. I appreciate the variety, but it leaves me a little hungry because I only eat parts of things instead of a whole thing. Ricky says that's all in my head. When you think about it, you have more than any of us. We get just 3 quarters after what we give you, but you've got 4 quarters, which is a whole sandwich. Hey, yeah, Mitchell grabs the walnut square from my tray. I'm confiscating this brownie in the name of food fairness. Half brownie. Evan breaks off a piece and pops it into his mouth. Jason turns to Mitchell, who is chewing on his own half. Do you remember to count the walnuts? Mitchell looks like he's downed a live toad that's hopping around just below his Adam's apple. We're all laughing our heads off, and that's when I spot her, my mother, standing in the doorway searching the lunch crowd for me. At the sight of her, I jump up and run toward her, but as I approach, my feet start to drag. This can only be another attempt to get me to come home to Marcus. She'll have some trumped-up piece of evidence that he's turned over a new leaf, that he bought me another laptop, he's taking anger management classes. He cries himself to sleep at night because he misses me so much. Well, none of that's going to work. By the time I reach her, my expression has hardened to stone. Her anxious eyes search my face. You look good, CJ. Better. Now, I'm not in the mood to discuss the advantages of the Donnellys' shower and laundry room or the hospitality and generosity of my friends. I know what you're going to ask, and the answer is still no. She shakes her head vehemently. That's not it. I came to tell you that you're right. We both need to get away from, and she won't say his name, him. And that's when I notice that she's wearing a lot of pancake makeup covering her left eye, and that the skin is puffy and doesn't quite match the rest of her face. He hit you, I blurt. The words sound hollow in my own ears. Of course he hit her. He's Marcus. Hitting people is what he does. All you have to do to qualify as a victim is be weaker and within reach. Her reply confuses me at first. It's not your fault. Why would she say that? Of course it's not my fault. Marcus is the one who hit her. But no sooner has that idea crossed my mind than I realize it's totally my fault. I'm the one who left her alone with him. I knew what he was. I have the scars to prove it. I could have protected her. Not that I could ever stand up to a tank like Marcus, but at least when I'm around, he focuses his rage on me instead of her. What was I thinking? How could I be so stupid, so selfish? What do we do? I'm trying to sound strong, but my voice comes out high-pitched and shaky like a little kid's. I'll figure it out, she promises. I just need time to plan. I have to make some calls to those helplines. Marcus doesn't suspect anything yet, but the minute he realizes that I've left him, he's going to come looking for me. Suddenly, I feel confidence surging in me. I might know a place we can go. Wait here. I spin on my heel and race back to the table where the guys are all on their feet watching me nervously. Jason is the first to find his voice. Is your mom okay? I picture her eye, the caked-on makeup and the swelling that it's meant to hide. Okay is the last word I'd use to describe it. But at the same time, a ray of light has broken through the black clouds. She's finally doing it. She's leaving Marcus. She's better, I reply. At least she will be. Ricky speaks slowly and carefully. You're not going home with her, are you? I mean, home to... I shake my head. Listen, you guys, I have to ask you something, and it's kind of huge. I need your permission to bring one more person into the fort. Mitchell's eyes are wide. Your mom? Now, I don't answer, but in that instant, they all understand perfectly, even Mitchell. The fort has always been our refuge, and now it's going to be someone else's refuge for real. And the stakes have never been higher. You understand what this means, right? I probe. The first rule of the fort was always no adults. Once the grown-up world knows it's out there, I pause to let it sink in. Adults talk to other adults, fellow parents, police, town officials, safety inspectors. Taking Mom to the fort could be the first step toward losing it forever. Evan puts a hand on my shoulder. Do it, man. Whatever it takes, Jason adds. Some things are more important than forts, puts in Mitchell. Even really, really good ones. It takes pretty amazing friends to risk the greatest thing they've ever had to help you when you need it. It's something I'll never forget. Ricky regards me with a solemn gaze. Good luck, CJ. My glance finds Mom in the cafeteria entrance. We're going to need all the luck we can get. Mom has an overnight bag in her car, and the sight of it makes my heart soar. It means that this is really happening. At long last, we're going to be free of Marcus. And at the same time, it's terrifying. Because Marcus is awful, but at least we knew how our old life worked. We're headed off into a future that we can't predict. And there's also the fear that if Marcus finds us, the payback will be more than either of us can handle. We leave the car a few blocks from the woods and walk the rest of the way. And as we move along the main trail, deeper and deeper into the trees, Mom is looking at me like I've lost my mind. Where is this fort of yours? Not far now, I promise. You have to see it to believe it. I feel like Little Red Riding Hood on my way to Grandma's house, she says with a nervous laugh. You'll be safe there, I assure her. There's no way Marcus can ever find this place. She's wide-eyed and silent as I pull away the branches, revealing the trap door. I take her bag and drop it to the bottom, and then I help her down the ladder and I flip the power switch. And with a clunk, the lights come on, revealing the fort in all its glory. She draws in an amazed breath. The guys are used to the fort, especially me, since I've been living in it. But seeing it through her eyes takes me back to that day after the hurricane when we first stumbled on it. Magic. What is this place? It's Bennett Delamere's bomb shelter, I supply. Near as we can figure out, he built it to survive World War III, and he didn't plan to share it with anyone because nobody seems to know about it but us. Bennett Delamere, she echoes. I haven't heard that name in years. I mean, people say he was a pretty weird agent, although I never imagined anything like this. I showed her some of the features of the fort, fancy plates and cutlery, the pantry full of fake canned goods, and the vinyl records and videotapes that aren't just from before my time, but before her time, too. I catch her looking at the couch, where an indentation in the cushion looks suspiciously like the seat of my pants. Is this where you've been living, CJ? I've been bouncing between the guys' houses, I admit, but this is where I sleep. She's tearful. I'm so sorry that I allowed this to happen to you. I have to give her credit, though. She's tough. She doesn't waste much energy on regrets. It took her a long time to leave Marcus, but now she's in this with both feet. She has a cousin in Atlanta we can stay with and another in New Jersey. Atlanta's closer, but Marcus knows the address, so he might come after us there. Then there's the problem that Mom's job is in Canaan. How's she going to support us if we have to leave town? And come to think of it, why are we the ones who have to go when all this is Marcus's fault in the first place? I watch her, huddled over her phone, calling lawyers and women's shelters, leaving messages and jotting down notes. She seems like she knows what she's doing. Then I picture 6'3" Marcus. All the planning in the world might not help us if we're unlucky enough to come face to face with him. There's so much to be hopeful about, and so much to be afraid of.